I don't know how much of a lag there'll be on your end from what you can see. For me, it's normally about 20 seconds because I have it set to
Yeah, just
low
right on right
latency.
now for me. So,
Oh, there's Nick. Nick's already in.
jeez, super quick.
I forget to kill my camera or my audio on my end every time, and so I get about 5 seconds of me loudly in my own ear, and I think, wow, at least I have a nice voice.
That's never any fun.
Yeah, Nick, what's up? Jackalope. Jackalope's got the
Jack's here.
Jackalope's. He's been through some storms himself recently. Emery's here. Keith, what's up, Keith? Keith, I just sent you a video. A guy who's out there. Well, for my frame of reference, he's by you. He's out on Long Island. I've been sub to him for a while. Wrenching with Kyle.
Should probably kill the sound on my laptop. Probably be good. Don't need to hear me talking.
What's going on? Ken's is here.
What's going on, fellas?
So, all right. Well, we'll get right to it. We already got enough people. Maybe we picked a
Absolutely.
good time. So guys, I'm just here with Jesse, and we were talking last week. I don't know, maybe a little over a week ago, probably.
Mm-hmm. Probably
And
something like that.
he wanted to come on, and I like having people on, so we're doing it. Long Island is a different country. Keith says, not part of the U.S. That's good. No problem, Kyle. So anyway, Jesse, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know most everybody who's in here now has probably interacted with you at some point or another, whether it be on one of your channels, your live streams, et cetera, et cetera. But just give us kind of a background, where you're from, where you grew up, education, automotive. Just give us the whole spiel.
Sure. I'm 27. I'm from about an hour and a half west of Savannah, Georgia. Um, Grew up in a little small rural town. Started working in a independent shop when I was 15 years old, as a general service tech, doing oil changes, tires, stuff like that. Um, I went to college, worked in an automotive shop all throughout that, and that's how I paid for college. I've got a degree from Georgia Tech in civil engineering, and don't use it at all.
And that's a
Um,
shame because I don't know if everyone is aware of this, but I was an engineering major for about a couple of years. I never graduated, but Georgia Tech is a perennial top 25 engineering school in the United States and probably the lower half of the top 25. They have a very good
it's a perennial
engineering
top
program.
10 every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
So
there. I have a friend that graduated from there about 15 years ago with a degree in mechanical engineering, and for about the last 12 years, he's been a computer programmer. So that's a good school. Anyway, keep going.
anyway, so yeah, I worked through. I worked um, as a technician for Chevrolet for a number of years. I started moving up all throughout that same time I was in college, from general service to C Tech apprentice, into B Tech, A Tech. I became a master certified General Motors technician at the ripe old age of 22, um, and started writing my own. Started writing my own estimates and started selling my own jobs. Um, that moved into an offer to be a service advisor for the dealership, which I didn't take. Um, but I continued to do my job and do my technician job, still do the service advisor's job. Um, the actual general manager of the dealership saw me interacting with the customer, gave me the opportunity to try to sell cars, and I took it. I took him up on that because the hours were at the time a little bit better, than when I was working turning wrenches. So I developed the sales side a lot, um, from there. Um, I Because of my background in engineering, I have a pretty strong computer programming background. I developed a program with the service department that basically pulled every customer's records. pulled their vehicle history, pulled their purchase history with us, pulled everything into one database, and it made it easily referenceable, to where we could kind of tailor our sales approach to them, and could kind of put ourselves in a position to give them the best possible service, but also, be a win for the dealership on the money side of things too. So that development went really well. It was a successful program. The dealership wanted to purchase the program from me, and what wound up happening, the very short version, was that I sold the program to a third-party company who pays me royalties on it, and they produce it for service departments all over the country. So they paid me a good chunk of money up front, and then paid me royalties on it. And so that's kind of where everything led to. Well, January of this year, I bought into a franchise, and now I'm the owner of a 14-bay shop. It's got 6 general service bays, 2 alignment bays, and 6 mechanical technician bays. So it's a pretty big shop. Do a lot of it's a tire shop first. Everything else just kind of comes off from there. So
that's pretty wild. So talk a little bit about go into depth a little bit more about how you financed, how that works with a franchise. You could cover how you're starting another location, but just get a dial in on that as much as you can.
Sure. Well, with franchises, it's all going to be a little bit different. Some people handle franchises one way, some people handle it another. You just need to, if you're looking to franchise or go into this, you need to figure out the system that's going to work best for you. For me, there was a upfront charge, which is I used part of the money that they kicked back to me for that program that I had written to help finance it, which is kind of what gave me my big break in the business. And for the first year, you don't owe anything as far as, all you do basically is your profit goes to the owners of the business. Like I own my location, but I don't, like, every bit of the remaining profit after payroll is taken care of doesn't come to me. There's franchising fees and things like that I have to pay on a monthly basis. And so that all gets paid in, and then basically what's left after all that comes back to me. So it's, and then I'm opening, basically I am opening up a second location. It's another part of Savannah. Just don't have a exact open date yet on that, because there's been so many things that throw it behind and throw it off that I've not gone into a whole lot of detail on. But I had some stuff in the planning phase that kind of exploded and took me away from doing it when I wanted to do it. So I'm pushing for right now about Q1 of 2018 to open up the new store, and it's the same thing. You still got to buy into it. You still got to front a big chunk of change, and you have to be okay with the franchising fees and everything that goes along with that. So,
what's your mission? Because this is a conversation that took place early on when you started doing live streams, and I was kind of sitting there eating popcorn, watching you and Keith go back and forth. Keith has a certain perspective. I think I get why he has it about what a shop should be, and how to capture more market share rather than less market share. But in terms of your franchise, and what's the name of it? Remind everybody.
Savannah Tire.
Savannah Tire. And how many locations do they have?
There are, well, that's a funky question to ask. Savannah Tire, there are 9 locations, including mine, but it's under the umbrella of Express Oil Change.
Okay.
So Express Oil Change is out of Birmingham, Alabama. There are like 234 locations of those.
Okay. So, what type of work do you do, and how much leeway do you have determining what kind of jobs that you want to take on, because obviously it's a franchise, but there has to be some flexibility. So what exactly is it you do, and how far do you go outside of that, and
I have
when?
autonomy on what I take and what I don't take in my shop. So if there's a job that I have specialty tools I can take advantage of, or I want to, do, I can easily do it. It's all on me as the shop owner about whether or not I want to take the job. As far as the jobs that I do tires, oil changes. So I am a quick lube, you know, type deal. But I'll deal with brakes. I'll deal with, top side internal engine. I'll deal with all your scheduled maintenances, all your fluid flushes. I deal with a lot of repair. I do a lot of preventative maintenances. Um, Basically, there's very little that I won't get into at my shop. I mean, I deal with um, replacing holder ends, replacing transfer cases, rebuilding transfer cases. I do a lot at my shop, a lot more than a lot of people um, who are in the same kind of business. So it's pretty flexible as far as what I can take and what I can't.
Um, how far? Well, let me ask this. So you have, what makes you, what's the tipping point to when you refer people out to another shop, or when you choose to do their particular, address their particular problem in house?
All right, so I have a philosophy.
I think
Um,
people are asking you to speak up. I don't think that there's anything I could do from my end to boost your audio, but if there's any way you can get
Really,
closer to your mic, I
I
think.
got to just you got to stare at my forehead then because that's the
Okay.
best I can do. Um, pull an MD Lee, right? No, uh, I sorry, I lost my train of thought. Um, I have a philosophy as far as that goes. As far as like where my breaking point is, I think that a lot of people in business can probably adopt this and make it work. Um, but it's a three-part philosophy. It's a win-win-win strategy. I want to have a win-win-win strategy. I want to have a win for my company. I want to have a win for my salesperson or my technician, and I want to have a win for my customer. Um, and if one of those three falls short, then I won't take the job. Um, like if I feel like I'd be taking advantage of a customer if I did the job because I'm going to have to bill a higher hour than a specialty shop to do that job, um, then I'll refer them out to a specialty shop. If I need to, um, if I feel like the customer is kind of pulling one over on us on something, then I'll send it somewhere else because I'm not going to make a loser for my business. And in the same way, like I want to make sure that I take care of my guys when they write up these bigger jobs too.
How do you pay your employees?
It depends on
Like
which
cash
employees
or
you're talking
check?
about. Uh,
No, are you on the flat rate system? How do you determine? Just kind of go briefly, as much as you can, anyway, as much as you feel comfortable with.
oh yeah, I'm
Uh,
flat. I'm flat rate in my shop. Yeah, the only people who get paid by the hour are my service advisors.
okay, and I did actually boost your audio. I figured out how to do that on the fly, so we should be good now. Um,
Nice, good job.
yeah, tell you what, I'm a wizard. Um, how many employees do you have? What are their assignments, so on and so forth? Do you have somebody working the front desk all the time,
Sure.
service advisor? Go into that.
Um, I've got I've got six general service guys, so guys pulling wrenches, doing my oil changes and tires. I have um, a number. Sorry about the flake there.
That's all
I
right.
have a two, um, not including myself. I have two mechanically inclined technicians, B Tech or higher. Um, one of which is a mobile technician that works part time with me. Um, And then I have a total of four guys up front working the counter. I have a service manager who really doesn't work the counter. He just is basically a foreman of sorts, handling workflow from back to front and front to back as well. Um, and then I have an actual store manager for like customer relations, and then 2 service advisors. And then I'm there in a kind of a floater role. I do a lot of work on cars every day, and then I'll do stuff on the customer side as well.
And I know that you already covered this, but just this will kind of set up my next question, your answer to this question. What exactly was your background? What certifications do you have? Where did you start out? What did you finish up at when you were working for other people?
Okay, started out when I was 15 years old, slinging tires, independent mom and pop. Moved into the dealership world at 18. Became a master certified GM tech at 22, and had been working with that. Worked with that dealership for about 3 years after that. So I was about 25, and now I'm 27 and own my own shop. So.
Okay, what does your average day look like? What are your hours of operation? And this might be kind of a weird question, but I actually do want you to go through it from like the time you wake up to the morning to not when you go to bed at night, but I mean to the time you leave work. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
What's that look like?
I wake up at 4 a.m. every day. To my shop around 6 in the morning. Get the shop opened up. We start business at 7. We close at 6 every day. And I would still stick around, sometimes about a half an hour, sometimes an hour, to get paperwork and the rest of the day finished up. And if I'm not live streaming that day, then I'll just head home. But if I am live streaming that day, then I'll sit there and live stream until 8:30. And then I'll head to the house and wake up and do it all over again.
So by the time you live stream, you've been up for about 14 or 15 hours in, right?
Yeah, well, at least 14, because I usually start live streaming about 6:30. So at least 14 and a half hours.
See, now that's interesting. I don't know. I see there are a couple of people here in the comment section who I don't think are aware of your channel, or at least people that I've never seen over there. So one of the things I'll say about Jesse is that Jesse's very much an open book. I asked him questions in probably one of his first, probably about his 3rd or 4th live stream that he did. And I thought, there's no way this guy's going to ask this, because if he answers, it would be easy to come across as braggadocio. But he gave me a very authentic and honest answer, and then he flipped the camera around and showed me the computer screen. So I won't ask you to cover that. I'll ask people to check your channel out, and especially
that video is still up and live right now.
So Jesse's got 2 channels. He's got South Georgia Tools. Why don't you just briefly describe what each of the channels is for and your philosophy there?
The SGT Live channel is the one that I think has got / like Gifted Reflex or something like that. That's an old channel of mine, but that's where I am going live from the shop most often. So it's going to have the more frequent content. The South Georgia Tools channel is a channel for like actual, like shorter, more consumable content. There's not going to be any of that shorter, more consumable content on the SGT Live channel. The other one is going to be the one for that. It's going to have, I'm doing basically tool catalog reviews. I don't think there's very much else up there besides like the Hot Tools catalogs right now. I've got ideas for other videos. It's just a matter of coming up with a time where I can do the video and still, can maintain the community doing the live streams, and there's just not enough hours in the day.
So definitely check both of Jesse's channels out and subscribe to them. But SGT Live, you guys have the chance to interact, and I don't know if Jesse is always going to be as forward and responsive as he was to that particular question about how much money he paid that year. But I thought it was really interesting because there are other people in this community who have made certain claims and then offered basically zero evidence to back up their claims. And I thought, okay, here's another guy making claims. Let's see if he's willing to back up his claims. And you were. And I was instantly like a fan then. I'd known you from some of the other chats and whatnots, and whatnot. But you guys have the opportunity to go in there and ask a real business owner, how much money is it you're making? How much money do you have coming in? How much money do you have going out? What does your average day look like? Your average week? Your average month? That's something I think is like pretty pretty admirable. I'll just put it that way. Let me ask you this though: what got you into automotive YouTube and into the live streaming? Because I think that you had a couple different accounts, because when you came through with South Georgia Tools, I already was familiar. Okay, yeah, just go into it.
I had one account, but I just changed the name of it a couple of times. So I've always done YouTube. That's the thing. Like this channel, my SGT Live channel, the reason it's an older channel and the reason it's got the / gifted reflex whatever as the URL is because there was once upon a time I made gaming videos on that channel, you know, I kind of grew out of that, and, but I didn't want to get rid of the channel, and so I got into the more adult. You know, I started being an adult and started paying attention to things in my industry and trying to further my education. And then I ran across this guy named Jay Young who was doing a live stream, and I'm like, let me go see what this is all about. So I jump in there and I'll start watching Jay Young, and then he starts talking about this big six, and I'm like, oh great, there's more people like him. So I start paying attention to this community and you know, just become an active part of it. So I mean, it was just kind of all, it ran really, really quickly downhill because I've only been doing this for about 2 months. So it's been kind of hot and heavy real quick.
Yeah, that's the thing though. I think you had I forget what the name of the channel was initially, but I had interacted with you in Jay Young's live streams a couple of times, and then I think at some point in there you changed the name of your channel, and it took me, I didn't catch on quickly that was still you.
Yeah, that was probably it was Mr. Gifted Reflex or Gifted Reflex, and then it changed to Jesse E. Odom, and then it changed to South Georgia Tools, and then it changed to SGT Live. So okay. That was the progression of things.
Okay. What's the forecast for you not the weather forecast. The business forecast moving forward. You talked about probably early next year you'll open up another location.
Yeah.
But how are things? Have you seen steady growth in the location that you're in before you took possession of that location or took leadership or ownership of that location? What was it before that? And have you seen things grown? Talk about that.
The location that I took over had been around for 40 years, I think. It had been around for a long time. And I built what I wanted to do with that business around the things they were already really good at. So I didn't have to come in and do some big fundamental change. It was just somebody else was at the helm of it. Previous 10 years, year over year growth. Hang on just a second.
Guys, I am kind of trying to keep track of your questions as well in the chat box, and here in a few minutes we'll kind of move more in that direction. I'll relay questions that Jesse can look here. He's seeing questions too, but I just kind of had a couple of fill-in information type things I want to get to first. Yeah, go ahead.
But anyway, yeah, that was kind of just went with the things that was good. Cut out the things that were bad, and you know, sounds cliche, but you know, that's kind of how things went.
So the person that had that franchise before you, then, did they just retire?
No, it wasn't a franchise before. It was a family-owned business. The Express Oil Change thing is pretty new. They've got bought out in 2015 by Express Oil Change, and so I'm the first franchisee of the location. It was
Ah,
corporately owned before I franchised it.
okay. And briefly, just kind of explain the franchise fees again. I know you touched on that earlier, but just kind of rehash what, what the buy-in was and so on.
You had to front a big chunk of money. For me, it was $250,000, and then you owe them a franchising fee, um, with as part of your gross profit goes to them, and that's pretty much it. As long as you can agree to those two terms, and you keep your franchise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you have anything else you want to go discuss, or do you want to just open it up for questions? I'm
Let's
fine.
open it up for questions because I'm gonna have to run here soon.
Okay. Yeah, we can do whatever your schedule dictates. So, Eddie asked something about video game channel. How long did you do that?
Oh boy, I did that for like eight. I did that
But
for
for just by way of reference here, I'm 37. You're 27. For somebody your age or of your era to be into video games, there's no shame in that. It's when people get to be my age or older that they're still into that I start raising an eyebrow. So go ahead.
yeah, I probably did it for 3 years consistently, and it was probably about 8 years ago, something like that.
And you built a channel of about 500 or so subs during that time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, but I wasn't really trying to build a channel. I just put up content, and whether it was good or bad, whatever. Wasn't trying to have thousands and thousands. And just the same thing now. I'm not trying to have thousands and thousands of people, but there are people that I think could get some knowledge out of what I do now.
uh, Junkie touched on something here. I got to be kind of careful with this one because I know we spend an inordinate amount of time talking about one person over here, and I've realized it. It always kind of keeps coming back to that because there's controversy. But
You say something about Nestor.
yeah, he did. Uh, and for the record, I feel like I need to issue this disclaimer every time. I actually like Nestor's content. I agree with a lot of the stuff that he said. At the same time, like I referenced earlier, it's kind of hard to cut through the fluff and get down to the substance sometimes when you go through somebody's content and 80% of it is just kind of filler. And then personally, I was willing to go through that to get to the 20%, but I understand uh, not everybody's willing to do that. So you talked about your own background as a salesman. What is it you're trying to sell? You're not trying to sell your own franchise model. Um, you're basically just out to make money, and that's what you're actually doing, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Exactly. I'm not trying to sell out of this once it gets to a certain size. Like nothing like that at all.
Yeah. Okay. What other questions? Sorry, I'm just working my way back in the chat here. There's a lot of talk about the hurricane. Do you have any hurricane updates you want to give briefly while I'm looking for other questions?
It's gonna be a tropical storm by the time it hits us, but it's still gonna be pretty rough. Storm surge gonna be kind of crazy off Tybee Island in Savannah. So
So, what was it you spent yesterday doing exactly? Was that at home or was that at the shop?
that was home. We were closed yesterday. Shop's already ready to go. Um, I grew up on a farm, and so I was actually on the roof of a barn all day securing tent.
Wow. So, you're how far do you live from the rest of your family?
Oh, I live in the same place my rest of my family does.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm an hour and 20 minutes away from work.
What was it that when you went to buy into the franchise? What was it that attracted you to that, or how did you become aware of it?
I could afford it for one thing. I didn't go beyond my means. Successful already. Didn't have to really like redo anything, and it just kind of worked, you know. So I mean, it was kind of like the perfect storm. Like that all worked out really well. But I don't know. I think that a lot of people would overextend themselves trying to get into franchising.
I think Junkie wants to come work for you. If you were going to have Junkie work for you, what would his role be in the company?
He'd be my only diesel mechanic. He'd be my only diesel mechanic. I'd open up a role for Junkie for that. He can come work on the heavy diesels. I just have to get him a rack.
How many hours a week do you put in at work then?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, about close to 70. I mean, I would say it's probably between 12 and 13, possibly 14 hours a week. So it's between 60 and 70.
So when you open up the other location, how's that going to change? How's that going to affect everything?
I'm going to be permanently a one, and I'm going to have a store manager over that, and just trust them to do it like once a week, once a month. I haven't really decided yet. Kind of be in I just go over there and make a visit. Trust the person to do their job.
You already have that person picked out?
Probably. Most probably, yeah.
Are the rumors true that it is the Snap-on Junkie?
I didn't know they were rumors, but that cannot be confirmed or denied at this point.
Okay, all right. Well, what's your schedule like? How much longer do you have?
Not very long at all, but I got about 5 minutes.
Okay. Give me a closing statement.
I'm not the kind of person that brags about what I have. I'm in the position that I'm in because of just chance, circumstance, and smart investment. Anybody can do what I do. Anybody can have the opportunity to do that. They just have to hit it when the opportunity strikes. Hope everybody does join my channel because we have a lot of fun over there. For the guys who've been there, y'all know that we bullshit and we talk back and forth about a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I'm not gonna brag, not gonna put myself out there like act like I'm better than anybody because I'm not. I'm a young guy trying to make a living for me and my family. So
right on. Well, look, I like your channel. I like a lot of channels, but I think I have at this point probably a few over 700 subscriptions, but I only have the bell clicked on about 60, and both of your channels are one of them. So I encourage everybody to check you out. I am going to leave this video up, and I know that I have a number of people that come in here after the fact and watch, and the fact that this went 35 minutes is actually going to make it easier for them to do that. But check out Jesse, both of his channels, if you're not already subscribed to him, and if you don't have anything else, I'm probably going to call that a stream.
That's fine, but we'll have to do it when you have a little bit more time.
Yeah, we will do that. I'll let you go though. Thank you.
I love that. They're bantering back and forth in chat.